if you've learned anything about me, myself, 1851, and the Growth Club, you'll see that transparency has to come front and center. Beyond that, we can figure out how do we sell franchises, how do we buy franchises, how do we close more deals as a supplier. But we have to start with transparency. Once all the information is laid out on the table, then we can go to work making sure that we find the right opportunity for someone. So when it comes to franchise fees, and I would imagine franchisors are pretty aligned with what my statement is. They've gotten too high. Now, this is going to oversimplify it for anybody that's watching this and thinking through this. But I say to some franchisors, they say, our franchise fee is $50,000. I say currently McDonald's is $35,000. I said, you're going to onboard the franchisee better than McDonald's? And it creates a pause moment. It's same as like what you're looking at the value or value engineering your cheeseburger that you're going to sell. If you're going to sell a burger that is lower quality than McDonald's, wouldn't you charge less so that the customer isn't frustrated that what their expectations are actually align with what they're putting in their mouth? And so I don't think it's apples to apples when it comes to franchising, but it is a valuable statement that I think a franchisor should think about when it comes to the franchise fees. Now, the real reason, here's the truth, I'm going to drop the bomb. The franchise fees have skyrocketed because franchise brokers, consultants, and coaches are looking at their inventory, and it's not their fault. The franchisor is saying, how do we motivate the consultant to introduce us to more buyers? And so you could certainly do that through what is your why you why now, your positioning, what is your offering, educating the consultant, giving them the tools to actually sell your franchise. But most brands don't. They say, well, we'll just give you more of the franchise fee. Not wrong. I'm just laying out all of the information on the table. And so to a franchise consultant, if the options are Nick's Hot Dogs or Mike's Hot Dogs, and Nick's Hot Dogs pay $20,000 commission and Mike's Hot Dogs pay $40,000 commission, in their head, even if Nick's Hot Dogs is better, they got to feed their family. And so they're going to say, well, maybe I'll guide you to Mike's and I'm going to get more in commissions. That's not even the issue yet. The issue is those fees have now gone up, and the franchisor doesn't pay those fees. The franchisee actually does. And franchisors aren't looking at what it means for those fees to go up when it comes to franchisee success. We are backwards. If we're going to do it the right way, every dollar of that franchise fee has to be deployed to helping that franchisee find success. And so if it's $20,000 or it's $100,000, it doesn't matter. If you deploy those dollars, the odds of that franchisee being successful increases. And if you can make your franchisee successful on unit 1, they're probably going to get to unit 2, maybe to unit 3. Yet we take and we deploy all those resources into the sales process, which is, again, it's not wrong. We're trying to grow our franchises by any means necessary because we have a vision. We feel like we have something that can impact humans, and we want to leverage franchisees to help get our brand out there. But it creates this very complex scenario where there's less money to support the franchisee. Franchisee had to spend more to get into business, which actually depletes their working capital, the amount that they can spend on marketing, the amount that they can spend on the next unit. The franchise consultant is telling the candidate, I work for you for free, when they don't. And what I don't like about it is that means there's a whole bunch of different lies, white lies, that are being told in this process. And again, like I said this at the beginning of this video, all that is fine as long as everybody, all the stakeholders, understand how it works. The franchisee understands they're actually going to pay more today than they did 5 years ago for no more value, just simply because it costs more for the franchisor to acquire them. Franchisor needs to know that when you pay more to acquire a franchisee, you've depleted the capital resources that you have. And unless you are super well capitalized, you're going to have fewer resources to make that franchisee successful. What does that mean? You better tighten up those operations and make sure the system is sound. To the franchise broker consultant, stop saying that you work with franchisees for free. You don't. Just come out and say, here's how it works. The franchisor is going to take the fee that you paid and give us a giant portion of it. Here's what portion we get paid for this. Now, that's only if you buy a franchise, Mr. or Mrs. Franchisee, but that's how it works. And so if we throw all those chips on the table and say, this is why franchise fees are high, and this is the information you need to know before you buy a franchise, and franchisors, you need to know that you're putting risk, because if you don't invest in that franchisee and the top line doesn't increase, then your royalty doesn't increase. And so if we said, let's throw this all back on the table, it would be impossible to push reset because it's too complex. But we can tell everybody how this works. And so the solution ends up being, for the franchisee, we tell them they need more operating capital. Don't diminish that operating capital in your FDD. Tell them that they need more. Franchise brokers, consultants, and coaches come out and tell the franchisee how this works. Yes, I get paid a lot of money to do this, but you're gaining access to my knowledge base, and I'm going to help be your tour guide in this process. And because you're transparent, now you don't have to play any bullshit game. You can say, Mike's Hot Dogs pay more than Nick's Hot Dogs. Here's why I like Mike's. Here's why I like Nick's. Here are the pros and cons. Let the franchisee make the decision without you leading the witness. And franchisors, maybe add more corporate operations to your business plan, because then the cash that you can pull off of those, you can deploy towards supporting your franchisees, which might diminish how much you make today. But because you're making your franchisees successful, it will actually make the value of your brand go up later. And so I just stressed three different audiences: the franchisee, how it works; the franchise broker, how it works; and the franchisor, how it works. Again, great that franchise fees are high. Let's be truthful about how they work. Give the transparency to all three parties, and then let them make their own decision. That is perfectly fine in my viewpoint.